Hello and welcome to the Soulful Mamas podcast. You're with your host Maria and welcome. So today is the 11th of September and it's Wednesday, and I thought it would be remiss of me if I wasn't to have a little Maria's musings on the upcoming Friday the 13th, which is in a couple of days' time. And I feel it's in my bones quite strongly to speak to this and really join the collective impulse from the feminine anyway to reframe this date. So it's my nod to the feminine, my nod to the goddess, and hopefully you can nod along with me. So I do wonder though, for you, what does that mean? Friday the 13th, it might mean nothing, but often any connotation that goes along with that, it has a negative one. It's unlucky. That's the messaging that we've had, I know definitely over my lifetime, but for generations, for hundreds, thousands of years probably. So what does it stir up for you? And one thing for me is a memory that I have, and I don't know how old I was, child, fairly young. My maternal grandmother, my mum's mum, my mum was born on the 13th of March. And I remember my nana saying to me, she was born on Friday the 13th, and it was such a lucky day. And in my little child self, I'm thinking, yeah, well, of course it's lucky. You had a daughter, and my mum was born. Not really understanding, but what she was meaning without saying it is that it's not unlucky. But I didn't know that was even a thing at that point, that people thought that Friday the 13th would be unlucky. And so she gave me the gift of a seed that she planted within me. So I always held that day as, well, it's a great day. You know, there's never anything negative attached to it until I got older and I realized they make horror movies or really scary films about Friday the 13th, and it's all about, it's a fearful, it's not a good number. It's not a good day. But I didn't embody that because that seed that my nana had planted in me had grown into this full, strong oak tree, if you like, by then. And it was very much, this is a great day. So I started from her. And over the time, it's never made sense to me that one day can have all these other associations to it. So of course, my curious self wanted to find out more. And so over the years, I've read and listened and, done my own little bit of research on what it actually is all about and why does it get such a bad rap? Well, Friday was named after the goddess Freya and Venus. So the two powerful it's very feminine energy and feminine archetypal energy. So strength in the goddess, the feminine. And the number 13 has always been a very powerful number, connected to fertility, creation, cycles of death and rebirth. It's connected to the goddess mysteries, the lunar cycle, the Venus cycle, and our woman's own menstrual cycle. So there are 13 moon cycles in a year, and for the most part, most women will have 13 menstrual cycles in a year as well. And so the power of the woman, the feminine, is strong. And so that number and that day had such significance going way, way, way back particularly in the times where the goddess lineage was more understood and revered and respected, and there was that I'm not sure if it was full balance, I can't speak to that exactly, but more matriarchal society. So things operated differently way back, thousands of years. And they've found artifacts from at least 30,000 years ago of cave paintings and little amulets and different things that have been made showing the homage to the goddess. And that piece by piece has been sort of taken away. So when it swung to more of a patriarchal society, it kind of went from that, and it swung really far in the other direction. And so we have this very controlled, top-down, heavy systems, let's just keep everything in boxes so it can be organized and controlled, and everyone knows not everyone knows what's happening, but some people know what is happening and what's not. And that's the model that has been followed for thousands of years now. And all of that feminine wisdom, the goddess wisdom, that wisdom of being in tune with nature, with the rhythms of the earth and the cosmos, that in tune with our own intuition and flowing and growing and being from that place, that was bit by bit the bricks taken out of the wall, so it was just undone and replaced with a negative thought pattern, thought process around it. So in order for that patriarchal society to really thrive and succeed, the energy of the goddess needed to be squashed, basically, particularly in the last 2,000 years. You can see lots of evidence of that. Many, many atrocities occurred to women who chose to work with the goddess, the earth, and tapping into their own inner wisdom, their own inner power. We know what they were called, right? What are the names? Witches. So there's a very big collective witch wound energy around those times. And even, I'll talk about this in a whole nother podcast episode, I think, about witches, but even the word is it just brings up so many thoughts and impressions that people have had imprinted in their DNA, basically. It's like Friday the 13th. It's that, it's a negative. Don't know why, actually, but it's not good. That's what it's kind of at cellular level, it would seem. So I think on this Friday the 13th, it's a really good opportunity to get in touch with that feminine aspect of yourself. And when I'm talking about feminine, I'm not talking about just women. Women generally can tune into that aspect more, but we all have the feminine and masculine, and ideally we want within ourselves that harmony and balance. And within ourselves can be, so that's the micro, and then in the macro level we want that balance in our society of that feminine and masculine energy coming together in harmony and creating this beautiful space where we can all thrive in equality, and we can see one another at a soul level for who we are, what our gifts are, what we're here to do, what we bring, and how we can support each other and lift each other up, rather than, oh yeah, you look like this, or you can't do that. There's a lot of that still happens, and particularly with women. Again, it's like almost at DNA level that it's survival. It's like you've got to protect yourself. Don't be vulnerable, because you'll be exposed and then you'll be burnt at the stake, essentially. That goes back to those times, and we're trying to reweave, reframe, but it's taking a bit of time. But imagine And we're getting there. We are getting there. Imagine a place where we remember her story, not just his story. It's her story as well. And we remember both, and we bring them both together to get this picture of humanity as a whole, and how we've evolved and how we're growing. And change it's not always easy for people. It's scary, it's confronting, and it's not comfortable, and it's not always known. So therefore we stay in our familiar places. And this is why right now, when we are still in a very much patriarchal society where it's top down and there's controls and power and all of that, but most likely for them it's what they've always known for a long time, and any change makes them feel vulnerable. So it takes a bit of I don't know, what's the word? It takes a few conversations, or it takes something to, I don't know, bring the house down and we start again. But there's a lot of all of this happening at the moment, and it feels uncomfortable. I don't know how you are faring right now, but it feels like there's just chaos everywhere. Energetically, when you look, please don't watch the news, but if you do, you'll see there's so much hurt and sadness and frustration and anger, and there's not a lot of good. But you know what? When you don't watch the news and you just put your focus just 1 degree in a different direction, there's so much good. There's so much beauty. Here in New Zealand, it's spring, and at our place, oh my gosh, the blossoms are just putting on this magnificent show right now. And the kiriru and the tui and piwakawaka, all the birds, it's like all the bird whānau are here at our property having a good old sing-song. And the bees are joining in, and it's just magical. And there's just not even a thought of doom and gloom. And so when we can focus on those good, positive, wonderful, glorious things that are actually happening, and then that momentum grows of the wonder and the beauty and the potential of us as individuals, and us as a collective people, and us as a planet. Getting a little bit excited if you can't tell. So when we can move through the collective veils of wounding that has happened over the last thousands of years, and try and swing that balance back into harmony, unity. And it's so wonderful that we're coming up to the spring equinox, which is all about balance. And I'm going to do next week's episode is going to be all about that. I want it to have its own little wee seat at the table. So I'll speak to that next week. But it's wonderful timing that we're striving for the balance within ourselves, so that can ripple out and impact family, friends, workplace, colleagues, wider community, country, world. Like, it starts with us. It just starts with us. And then we can remember our power and our strength. And, it's in our bones. It's in our blood. It's in our wise blood, which is so healing and obviously life creating. So it's exciting, and I want us to be able to reframe the energy around Friday the 13th. You don't have to have an altar full of goddesses and pay homage in that way. You can, though, if you want to. That's cool. But it's not necessary. It's about reframing that day and knowing that day was the day of the feminine. And Mary Magdalene, I've got to do a nod to her because I love her. She was known as the 13th Gnostic apostle, and not really included in many of the texts, right? So, there's a lot of energy around Friday the 13th, that 13 around that Mary Magdalene holds, and she held for such a long time she was discredited, and there was so much negativity and hate and yuck towards her, and it's been lifted now. However, it's in the memory and it's stuck, and still some people see her as in a fearful light. But imagine a woman 2,000 years ago. Imagine people trying to be so determined to bring this woman down. So that tells me that they were scared of her. She was powerful, but she was powerful because she was truly in her own feminine, unapologetic self. And her capacity to love and be loved and hold space and heal, super powerful. So thank you, Mary. So for Friday, what could you do possibly? It would be a good idea to create a bit of time for slowing down, little sacred pause, and to honor your own self, that feminine aspect of yourself. So starting with this beautiful physical body temple that you have, that you reside in, the true you is at home in this body, this physical body. So look after that body. Feed her nourishing food and hydrate her with beautiful, fresh, clean water, and bathe her in the, beautiful bath of water and Epsom salts and whatever oils or whatever, rose petals. Just honor this temple because it's looking after you. And obviously speaking kind words. I've been saying this so much lately. When you see yourself in the mirror or catch your reflection in a window of a shop, give yourself a little smile or a little nod. Rather than focusing on look at my hair, or oh my gosh, the bag's under my eyes. No. Let's try the reframe and just give yourself a little smile. And it starts there. And it's the same with this day. On Friday the 13th, let's reframe it to the day of remembering the feminine and honoring that part. And you may have a more of an elaborate plan of honoring the goddess within and without, but it actually, all you need to do is honor yourself. So permission to be kind to yourself in whatever way that's going to feel nourishing. It's going to be soul filling. So I am excited to hear. I'd love to hear how this lands for you and what you intend on doing, if anything. It's powerful when we can come back to this place of women coming together and sitting in circle together, having a sisterhood, a reweaving of the sisterhood, reweaving of the village, and being in ceremony. And ceremony doesn't have to be a big elaborate thing. It can be just lighting a candle and having a sacred pause. It can be so simple. We overthink everything as women. Oh my gosh, don't we just, not just women actually, but don't we just do that? I know I do that. But if we come into this place of connection, collaboration, and it enables a space of awareness, of unity, compassion, and acceptance for everyone, for humanity. And then, hopefully, by default, or especially, I should say, for our Mother Earth, the one who enables us to have life on this planet along with our sun. But Mother Earth is, gosh, she's patient. That's what I'll say. She's patient because we don't always get things right. But when we can come together more in that collective, collaborative way, then we can see, why would we want to harm our planet? because this is our home. So anyway, these are my musings, Friday the 13th, and I hope something lands, and if it resonates, wonderful. Do keep in touch. I will be speaking to this. I'm excited. My course that I'm running online, the Wheel Turns program, every Thursday night we'll be going deeper with this with the beautiful woman in that group, so that's really exciting. And just before I go, I just wanted to say I've decided to open up 2, maybe 3 spaces of a 3-month offering container, working one-on-one with me, start October and go through towards the end of December or before Christmas. And it's an opportunity for you to go a bit deeper and be really held, but also held accountable for growth, for your potential. So I work with many women over the years, and I now can see I was just focusing on one-off sessions, and people do keep coming back, but I would never push for the next appointment. Partly that's my people-pleasing conditioning, I guess, of I don't want you to feel like I'm being salesy, but I realise by not doing that, I'm doing a disservice, because that being held in a beautiful container for that amount of time, transformation really can happen. And being in that, and if you've been listening to me for a while now, you know me well enough to know that I love all things, but nature, rhythms, cycles, moon, spiritual, like everything's at the table for me. And like helping you really tap into your inner wisdom and your intuition is something I'm really quite passionate about. And for this, it's for you as a woman to grow and evolve, and it's something that I wish I had earlier on. And I have fumbled along and taken multiple courses and trainings and all different things, and I'm so blessed to have some amazing mentors in my life now that guide me and keep me on the straight and narrow, but they've helped me find my voice. I wouldn't be doing this podcast without them. Finding my confidence and my potential through them. So I want to be able to do that for others as well. So yeah, I have space for 2, maybe 3 people coming up in the next few months. If you're interested, if that's planted a seed of curiosity, email me and then I'll tell you the next steps. But we'll have a conversation, we'll make sure it's the right fit and all of that. So yeah, I'd love to hold you and be in that space. So yeah, seed is planted. Been spring and all, So have a really beautiful, soul-filling day and week ahead, and have a magical Friday the 13th in whatever you do. And even if it's just a little reframe of, this is actually not about what society has told me it's about all this time. And you can tell your children too. Yeah. So much love, everybody. And next week I'll be back for an episode on the spring equinox. Until then, bye.